Alright family, here's the deal. I've got another update video for you. Now this is kind of half update, half later on update. I wasn't able to fit all the stuff from when it happened, otherwise the vlog would be way too big. But I did want to get the information out to you, so I'm gonna show my first reaction and then I'm gonna give you a roundup of everything that happened over the last like month concerning all this. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. Alright guys, well, it's time for a bit of cool news. That's not a new segment, just it's kind of cool. I recently received my DNA test results back from Ancestry.com. Found out what I am. So, I'm going to go ahead and start off with the largest percentage of what my DNA popped off as. Coming in at 46%. Europe West, Belgium, France, Germany, Netherlands, Switzerland, Luxembourg, and Liechtenstein. Not exactly sure what most of this means, but it says I've got a lot of that blood in me. Coming up number 2, this will probably not surprise many of you given my freckles and reddish beard, which when I was born, I had blonde hair just like Javen. It got darker with age, his is as well. But Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Makes sense. Coming in at 19%, I have Great Britain, the home of aluminium and Top Gear, which probably explains my love for Top Gear. Maybe. 3% Scandinavian, Sweden, Norway, and Denmark. Moving on to my low confidence regions, I have 2. The Iberian Peninsula, basically Spain and Portugal. My least low confidence region with less than 1%, and this is weird, but it's in my DNA apparently. It says Asia East, Philippines, and Guam. Now, I love the Philippines. I grew up in the Philippines. I have Filipino family by marriage, but apparently this means that I have a very tiny percent chance of actually having Pinoy in me, and I'm okay with that. That was the most surprising out of all my results. Other than that, you look at it and you're like, yeah, he is the whitest bread person I know. So no surprises there, but that is what I am. Wait, that I am what I am, whatever. Now I know my ancestry links and life goes on. Well, you think that would be it. You would think, hey, he knows what he is. But there's more to this story. Now, I was expecting to take this test with just, finding out what I'm made of, where my ancestors came from. But I did find out a few interesting things. I don't know who my father is. I never met him. He was never in the picture after I was born. Nothing. I don't even know if he knows I was born, to be honest with you. No clue. I have no idea who he is. I was able to figure out some of his background because one of my sisters actually took the DNA test as well. When comparing hers and mine, I could see that we both had a high percentage in the Ireland, Scotland, Wales portion. So I'm assuming that's my Cornet side of my family. The Cornets came from that area. We have a very high concentration, both of us in that area. She had a lot less Europe West, which I had a lot more. So deducting from that, then we say, all right, well, my dad gave me the more German Liechtenstein area kind of stuff. So that's pretty cool. But wait. There's more. Someone else popped up in close family, and it was not someone that I knew, like at all. But there was something familiar about their name that they had as their username. In particular, the last name that they put. And it happened to be the same last name that I was told my biological father has from my biological mother. That was surprising. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't take this test to look for my dad or anything else, but when that popped up as another close family member with this last name, I'm like, I just found my biological dad's family. And it was a lady, so she wasn't my mom, obviously. I know who my mom is. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is crazy. I text my biological mother and I'm like, hey, just to check, who did you say my dad was? What was his name? Blah, blah, blah. She gave me that info and I'm like, oh my goodness. this is it. This is actually it. I guess I might have found my dad. Well, we'll see. But I found a way to possibly find my dad, which is quite surprising and unexpected. But this did cause a little bit of trepidation. Yeah, I guess I want to find out if it's going to be that easy for sure. But then you have the thought about it. It's like, do I want to stir up the pot for somebody else just because I want to find out who my dad is? And what I mean by that is, what if he doesn't even know that I was born? What if his family doesn't even know about this other kid that he has or had a long, long time ago, and it's never been talked about, or maybe it was covered up or whatever else? Is it going to cause some strife on their side of the family? Like, who is this man who says he's your son? What's going on, Dad? What's going on, husband or whatever else? So I was kind of like, I don't know if I should say anything or not. But I decided to go ahead, send a message to her and see if she responds. And I just said, I don't know who exactly you are. It shows we're close family. I don't know who my dad is. We've never been able to make contact with him. I'm just trying to get some more information. So is there somebody on your side of the family with this name? That's all I asked. I said, hey, I'm just trying to connect the dots. If you could help me out in any ways, please send me a message. Thank you. I just sent the message. So we will see. We'll see. But that's kind of interesting. I think it's kind of interesting. Hey, find out if he gave me MS. So I've never really had that much interest. I'm not interested in doing like a whole dad and, slow-mo running towards each other in a field and playing catch after 39 years, or anything like that. That's not me. Would I want to contact him, say, hey, what's up? Yeah, probably. Just, say hi, I'm your son. I'm going to try as quickly as I can to get through all the stuff that went on over those couple of weeks. The lady that I messaged through Ancestry.com never got back to me on Ancestry.com. I was able to find some other people on her family tree that had commented on it that were also a part of the family, got a little info from them, but nothing that was super helpful. What I did was I found on the family tree, I found the obituary of my actual grandfather on her side. At least I thought it was my grandfather. He had the same exact name, but he was a senior instead of a junior. But looking at the ages, I thought, I don't think this guy is my father. Most likely my grandfather. I'm looking for the junior version. On his obituary, people had signed online on the Tennessean that they were, sad that he was gone and that kind of thing, but they kept mentioning that he was a big part of their church at Old Hickory Church of God in Nashville. And I'm like, hey, wait. If everybody at this church knew him, maybe the pastor knew him. Now, he died back in 2013, I believe, but his wife, which would be my step-grandmother, actually died about a month ago. And I thought, well, maybe if I can get a hold of the pastor, then he would know them, then he might be able to put me in touch with the family. Tried calling the pastor for a full week, but could never get a hold of him. There's no answering machine at their church, and no one was answering throughout the week. So I'm guessing, small church, and nobody's there. So what I did was I found the next closest Church of God, and I called them and said, hey, do you know the pastor of that one? He's like, oh yeah, I know him. I'll get a hold of him. I'll go track him down. I'll make sure he gets your number, and he'll get back in touch with you. And I'm like, hey, great, appreciate it. I thought, you know what? Sunday rolled around. I'm gonna call right now because I think they probably are just now getting out of church. And sure enough, I called. And he answered, and it was a pastor, and he did remember them. He said, yeah, I knew them well. They both passed on now. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but do you know any of their family? And he said, well, he always had a sad spot in his heart about his family because he was divorced. He said he didn't keep in touch with any of them or anything like that. And I'm like, no. But he said, I think they live in the Michigan area, like Grand Rapids. And I'm like, oh, that might be useful. So I got off the phone with him. I thanked him very much. I called the other pastor, let him know that I got a hold of that pastor. Everything's copacetic. Cool. But now I'm armed with not only a name, but a possible location. So I searched it on the interwebs. And wouldn't you know, I found Junior's home phone number, email address, and physical address through the power of Google. So what did I do? I called the number and no one answered, so I left a message. And then I also sent an email. No one answered back the next day, and I'm like, oh, maybe this isn't right. And I didn't know for sure, and I just said, hey, my name's Josh Boggs. I'm looking for so-and-so, trying to get some information on my family, blah, blah, blah. I was adopted, all that kind of stuff. Then I thought maybe you can drill down in Facebook people by where they're at, and sure enough you can. So I put in the Grand Rapids, I put in his name, and some started popping up, and I'm like, I don't know if these are the ones. But what I did try was the lady that I matched with, the DNA match as close family on ancestry.com. I did her name, and I got a whole bunch, and I started messaging all of them on Facebook, and I got so many back that said, sorry, not her, hope you find who you're looking for, blah, 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 blah. However, then I found one that I was pretty sure was him on Facebook, and I messaged him, but no answer. And I'm like, what in the world? Nobody answers on ancestry.com, nobody's answering on email, nobody's answering the telephone, nobody's answering on Facebook, at least not the right people. And I thought, well, maybe I already found him, but I scared him off already, and I started going through the friends lists that were set to public, and I found one that had her name and his name. So I'm like, this is it. This has got to be it. It's her name and his name in this friend's relationship. This is 100% it. Facebook messaged him, no response. Looked through his friends list some more and found a cousin, my cousin, which is his nephew, who's a Church of God pastor in Wyoming, Michigan, the city Wyoming. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This is weird. So I called him up and I'm like, hey, my name's Josh Boggs. I'm the youth pastor, young adult pastor at King Christian Center, Assemblies of God in Washington State, in the Seattle area. And here's the story. Just be honest with you. My mother said that she was with a guy named and he's my biological father, and that's who I'm trying to look for. And my cousin was like, my uncle? And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. I said, hey, is your grandmother's name this? Is your grandfather's name this? Do you have an aunt who is this name? Do you have an uncle this name? Everything matched up. And I'm like, I found him. I found my cousin. And so he said he was going to go ahead and message his uncle, my dad, and hopefully get in touch with me that way. It didn't happen. He messaged him and tried to get a hold of him, but apparently my biological father is really hard to get a hold of. Anyway, fast forward a couple more days. Every day I'd just call the phone number at different times to see if I might be able to get a hold of him on his landline. And finally somebody picked up, and it was a very elderly woman who was very sweet and very kind and spent 3 minutes looking for a pen that she could not find to write down my number so that he could call me back. In that conversation, I said, hey, are you so-and-so? And she said, yes. And I didn't tell her at that moment that, hey, you're my biological grandmother. But I did talk to her. Sounded like a sweet lady. So she said, just call back at, like in 6 o'clock or something. And so I did. I called back and he answered. And I said, is this Junior? And he said, yeah. I said, is this your dad? Yeah. Is this your mom? Yeah. Did you ever live in Tennessee? Nope. Never lived in Tennessee? Okay. Well, my dad lived in Tennessee, but I didn't live in Tennessee. Okay. Did you ever go down to Tennessee? He said, well, sometimes. He said, did you ever know somebody named Linda Cornett? My mom. I didn't say my mom, but just asked if he knew Linda Cornett. And he's like, nope, never heard of her. Sorry. And I'm like, so in 1978, were you in Tennessee and did you know Linda Cornett? No, I didn't. Sorry, I can't help you. And I'm like, got to be kidding me. I don't know what else to say to the guy, So I'm like, okay, well, thank you. So I text my mom, my biological mother, and I said, hey, how did you know him? And she said, well, we worked at this place called Nashville Wire. And we made the grates and everything that go inside the ovens and in the refrigerators and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay. And she's like, he was there visiting his dad and his blah, 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 all this other stuff. I'm like, okay. I called back instantly. I called him back. She's Facebook messaged me. And I said, hey, did you ever work at a place called Nashville Wire? He said, well, I don't know if it's called Nashville wire, but I used to work at a place one summer where we made like the wires that go inside the ovens and the refrigerators. I'm like, okay, here we go. I said, was there a girl? I said, yeah, there was a girl. Was her name Linda? I think her name was Linda. He said, but it was weird. We got in this car accident and I went back to see her again, but I never saw her anymore. She was gone, and that was it. And so at the same exact time that he's telling me this stuff, my biological mother is texting me. She's like, yeah, it was really weird. There was this car accident, and I got spooked, and I ran away, and I never saw him again. I never even told him that I was pregnant. I didn't even know I was pregnant at that time, blah, 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 blah. And there was a trailer fire, and I'm like, what in the world? There's a trailer fire and a car accident? What's going on? But it was confirmed. He said, so you're telling me I have a 39-year-old son? Yep. So we just started going through, you know, what's your life like? What was it like? How'd you grow up? What have you been doing with your life? He's a trucker for 30 years and blah, 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 blah. Just about that time, I started getting Facebook messages from a lot of aunts and uncles I did not know I had. All of his brothers and sisters were very excited to get to talk to me and ask me questions and such. And anyway, I got off the phone with him, and that's been it. My aunts and my uncles, I've talked to, I think almost all of them have called me, and we talked for a very long time. Seem very cool, nice people. They want to get to know me a little bit better, and I'm okay with that. However, that was like 2 to 3 weeks ago now, and I have not called my biological father back. I've talked to my aunts and my uncles more, and they continue to Facebook message me and send me pictures and such, but he might be a little spooked or not really know how to deal with any of this. He never had any other kids that he knows of. Obviously, we have to say that he knows of. No other family or anything in all those years, so no surprise siblings for me yet. But I think he's still trying to wrap his head around the fact that he does have a 39-year-old son out here in Seattle, and he's got 2 grandkids as well. Anyway, I don't know where it's going to lead. I don't expect to go out and go visit him and play catch. I'm not looking for that. I'm not looking to rekindle something that was never there. I'm not looking to have some deep, meaningful relationship with him either. Just be able to know who he is good enough for me. And it's been pretty cool though. And I would like to talk to him more in the future, but we'll see. Might be an opportunity, maybe even this summer, that I might be able to stop by Michigan. That's a possibility for another day though. Anyway, I tried to get through that story as quick as I possibly could. It is kind of long. There's a lot that went in it, and there's a lot I actually skipped over because it'd take a very long time to explain it all. But I wanted to get you guys caught up to date that yes, I have found my biological father, and no, I have not met him yet, so I can still use my favorite joke. Have you met my dad? No. Me neither. Anyway, I want to say thank you guys so much for watching, liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, all those wonderful things to make you a little more wonderful yourself, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye! Love God, love people.